Ladies and gentlemen, I have to come right out and confess that I think that I may be a masochist. I may be somebody who enjoys pain because, for whatever reason, and it's inexplicable even to me, when I have moments where I'm not doing anything and I'm just looking for something to watch, there are times where I tune in to Disney and Marvel and see what the latest thing is and just watch it. I know it's not going to be good. I know it's going to be festering, rancid hot garbage, but I watch it anyway. Why? Why did I watch season 2, episode 7 of the quote unquote What If series? The premise on its own looked interesting, I guess. Maybe that's something in my defense. Like, what if Hela was cast out of Asgard by Odin the way that Thor was? That's an interesting premise, and she meets up with the owner of the Ten Rings in the past. That could be interesting, right? No, of course not. Of course, what it was is a a tired feminist cliche where like how Thor had to learn a lesson about himself and really grow and become a better person who respected his father, respected what his father did for him, went out to become a better person. Well, what are the odds that they're going to apply that same level of learning to Hela? None. Zero. Zero. The fact that she's the same snarky, disrespectful, rude, obnoxious person, that to them, they think that's a major win. They think that's empowerment. So, of course, in the end, she defeats Odin. Spoiler alert. Uh, and I saw people coping in the comment section. Well, Odin was just holding back. It's like the whole point of this. I don't get it. I don't understand why people pretend that this stuff is anything but what it is. She defeated Odin because she's a woman. And the whole purpose of this is to falsely promote women in this really obnoxious, really grotesque way because, and I'll just be honest here, I could almost smell the cat urine coming from these fat middle-aged women that have gotten into the nerd spaces and have altered them to basically be a reflection of their insecurities. They can't have women be flawed or interesting because that would remind these wine-ons who are now apparently working on the entertainment scene that they are imperfect. It's such a rah girl power bullshit thing that it's uncanny valley. It's like I found an image that I think perfectly encapsulates my feelings about blue pill feminist propaganda from these big corporations. This image right here, I think it is perfect because you know that this is supposed to be resembling a face. You know that it's supposed to be resembling a human being, but there's just something immediately, visually creepy about it. You know it's wrong. The moment that it comes up, you know it's wrong. You're like, wow, that is not right. That's how I feel about this woke blue pill feminist propaganda. When I see this diversity, equity, and inclusion narrative pumped into entertainment, it is this face every time. It takes me out of the experience. It's gross. It's obnoxious. The poor writing, the poor direction, the complete abandonment of any sort of creative integrity. They have, a lot of these What If series, they have the opportunity to do something interesting. But this wasn't interesting. This was Hela going back and acting like an absolute fool. Refusing to learn and evolve. Apparently making a guy, fall in love with her, the guy with the 10 rings. And then she, headbutts him, beats him up, of course, because, she just beats him up like it's nothing. And then runs away and escapes. It's like, I'm watching this and it's so apparent to me that what we're dealing with in this period of time is we're dealing with the reality that women can't handle the fact that they're just not as interesting as men. And we're also dealing with the fact that these men, these beta males in these entertainment spaces, they refuse out of fear, abject fear, and also desperately longing to be laid by these fat land whales because they're the only ones on the planet that would touch them. But they are approving this stuff, greenlighting it. There's no quality control anymore. Whether it's Blizzard or Activision or any of these other companies, they allow this stuff to go out in this state. Like, for example, and I'm just going to keep this creepy face up there because I think it highlights my point. Star Wars Acolyte. Rumors coming out. It's going to be woke. The main character, or one of the main characters, is going to be a black lesbian of some variety. And you already see from the get-go people groaning. They're like, oh, God. That is not good. And yet Disney continues to promote this stuff. They continue to promote this degenerate, low IQ, low value, sinful, debased ideology and behavior in their movies. And it makes no sense because most of the world and most of America do not like it. Even after 15 years, they still don't like it. They don't want it. They want no part of it. Donald Trump's going to win because of it. Donald Trump is going to win the presidency for the second time because these people have pushed their creepy, debased, weird, feminized blue pill agenda to the point now where our country's basically almost unraveling, but that's a conversation for another video. My point is that watching stuff like this, it's just so immediately apparent how terrible it is and how uncomfortable it makes people, but not in the way of like, oh, I'm a snowflake, I'm uncomfortable, but like, I'm looking at this going, oh, God. And so, it does beg the question, why do I watch this stuff? Why do I watch it? Why do I go back to it? But also, at the same time, why do they make it? Why do they make this stuff in this sort of way that is so gross and obnoxious and poorly written? You would get a better outcome if you put this in the hands of AI. Which is what, I don't fear AI. I don't fear the coming AI surge. Because I can tell that AI is going to be better than what we're getting now. For years, we've had woke people doing stuff like this, and they've not cared about how terrible a job they're doing. They're like, we don't care. We don't care if you don't like it. Well, guess what, bitch? Now you're in the unemployment line because we have an AI that's more cost effective and going to do your job but do it better. Because these people have lived in this bubble for so long that they have any sort of real power. But no, real power and influence and authority comes from you creating something, and not just creating it in the short term, but having it stay relevant in the long term. Something like Lord of the Rings, or Star Wars, or Harry Potter. These franchises have stood the test of time. There are movies that are, from the 2000s, from the 90s. Jurassic Park is another example of a mega successful franchise that stood the test of time. But more often than not, what we end up getting is something like this picture here. An uncanny valley, makes you feel uncomfortable, makes you feel weird, woke piece of propaganda, and I'm here to tell you, it's shit and you're shit if you make this. You're an embarrassment. Not just to yourself, but to your family. To the people that sacrificed to get you here. You have an opportunity that they could have only dreamed of. You're in charge of one of these, clips or one of these shows or episodes. You have a true opportunity to make something great. And what do? This self-aggrandizing shit. Hey, how about this? How about you take your fat ass, if you're one of these fat, low IQ bimbos, these feminists, take yourself to a gym, okay? Take yourself to a gym. Go see a therapist. A good one. One that's not just going to medicate you, one that's going to actually help you. And get your fucking life insecurities in order. And then go to work and make the best thing that you can. And do you know what's going to happen? Do you know what's going to happen? Well, first of all, after you take a shower and clean the folds of your fat that haven't been touched in probably 10 years, you're going to see a noticeable improvement in your mentality. You're not going to feel the need to have characters validate your very existence. You're going to be allowed a feeling of freedom. Like J.K. Rowling. I know these fat blue-haired land whales, these toxic blue pill lowlives, they hate J.K. Rowling. But J.K. Rowling is a woman who overcame so much and wrote Harry Potter that to this day has elevated her to a status that, I mean, she doesn't have to work another day in her life. She has more money than anyone will ever know what to do with. And she's an absolute legend. No matter how many people hate on her, it doesn't change it because Harry Potter is so goddamn good. Nothing that J.K. Rowling could really do is going to change that because of the contribution she's made to the world. That's my point here. Instead of putting this mediocre garbage out that just plays on your insecurities, actually try to improve yourself and stop playing this victim mentality and stop LARPing that in movies anyone wants to see a female main character the way that you're portraying them, which is as the male. You are taking a man, all the different things about a man, and you're just gender swapping them. That is lazy, it's incompetent, it's arrogant, it doesn't work because women and men are different. They are different. They're not interchangeable or interswappable. There are distinguishable differences. Which is why your female main characters don't work. Not only because you're trying to make amends, but you also don't give them the ability to grow and evolve and adapt and learn from their mistakes. Which is why Japan is absolutely killing you. Because in Japan, and I constantly bring up Japan, but understand, the word anime, I mean, I've learned over the last couple of years, I thought the word anime was like, oh, Dragon Ball Z and Gundam Wing and Rurouni Kenshin. There are so many animes, and they're different, and some of them are fucking dark. Like, really psychological, like, holy shit. Like, this came from an AI? No, it came from the mind of some creepy motherfucker in Japan. Like, holy shit. And then there's other ideas, other things. There's so much. I didn't understand the scale of what anime is. The creative umbrella over there is enormous. It is enormous. But over here, it's not. It's very, very small. Very uniform. We have certain scripts and procedures that all entertainment must go through. You must be this diverse to ride this ride. You have to have this many people of color. You have to have this many women. You have to have this many gays. It's obnoxious. It is absolutely unwatchable. And you're going to continue to fail. Now, I understand that the people who are woke, they don't really care about these corporations failing. But I know how egotistical you are, and you are going to fail. And people are going to laugh at you. And I know how much that bothers you. I know how much that bothers you. So, maybe, just maybe, instead of failing, you actually put some work in and stop being an obnoxious cunt on the internet. Like with this localizer situation, you stop being an unbearable bitch and you actually get out there and improve yourself and improve your work and stop playing this victim mentality bullshit and actually make something that people want to see. No one wants to see Odin get beat by Hela in this ridiculous way. No one wants to see that. Or maybe I shouldn't say nobody. Nobodies may want to see that. Losers, simps. But otherwise, no, people want to see good quality, well thought out entertainment that doesn't pander or play these political games or play these blue pill, circle jerk sessions. That's ultimately what people want. They don't want this. Nobody wants this. And this is what you make. And this is what you are. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, I will bid you a good day, and I'll see you next time.